Legends! Check it out. We made it. It's round 23 of Calvin's Captains, and what a year it has been. Now, I got saved by Rory Laird there multiple times. However, he's not very high on the list this week. So let's get into it. And I'll tell you now, this top 10 of mine has changed so often over the last couple of days as I've dug deeper. I don't know if I'm worried about it being grand final week. I don't know if this could sway leagues or hats, or I don't know. However, just understand this. I have worked my ass off here to make sure that I have a top 10 that I am incredibly researched on, because this week things aren't always as they seem. So let's get into it. We'll go through each game nice and quick. We'll pause at the big ones. We'll have a chat about them. Lockie Neal now doesn't make my top 10 this week, but could be a VC on Friday night. Now, his scores have been pretty average. He's averaged 88 in his last 6 games. Last year against Melbourne, who do give up points, remember, he had a 140 against them. Now, the thing is here, he's back home. He has an amazing record against the Ds. Now, last week, Doherty 125, Cripper 118. Yeah. So he should be great, but his form has been so bad. However, vice captain, you've got him, you can go for it. Clayton Oliver is there. He comes into my top 5 this week. Once again, great vice captain option. Thing is with Brisbane, I've got more notes in the table there. Thing is with Brisbane, they've given up one score over 120, and that's what we're aiming at here, people, 120s. One score over 120 in their last 4. So Brisbane were a little bit easy. They are now a little bit harder. Oliver last year, a 102 and an 86 against him. I like Big Max in this one, though. Usually Oscar McInerney is really hard to score against. However, last week, Marshall 118. Before that, Nank 186. And Jared Witt's 121. Tells me he should go okay. Last year against them, 135, 108. And Max's form has been great. He's a great vice-captain option on Friday night. Then we're looking at the GWS Freo game. The only thing here to note is Brayshaw is not an option. He will be tagged by Perryman, who went to Liver last week for 68, and the week before that he went to Zach Merritt on 55. I can't see why all of a sudden they just stop using him as a tagger. I think Brayshaw gets it again. You cannot risk it in a final. If you are, it's a VC only. He had 78 last week when he was also tagged. Aaron Hall against the Suns. Hey, it's Aaron Hall. As we know, anything can happen. I don't mind that as a little bit of a roll of the dice in a revenge game, if you don't mind. But your best vice-captain option is what I will be going with, and that is Touk Miller. Now, last 3 scores for him, 133, 88, 122, 120. Yep, last year against North, 112, 130. Tick, 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 right? Everything looks great for him. At Marvel, last year, played there 5 times, averaged 130. Tick, tick, tick. Right. However, the small little flag is, last week Laird played against him for 92. The week before that, Mills played against him for 89. I'm not fussed. Out of everyone in my top 10 list, that is the guy that sat at number 1 the whole time. The best vice-captain option at 210 on Saturday. I like Simpkin as well. Doesn't make the list. He should be fantastic. Zach Merritt against Richmond. Now, this is the thing. Last 4 scores against Richmond, the best midfielder only got 116. The thing is here, Zach Merritt coming off 86 and 55. He will not be tagged here. Will not be tagged. This year against Richmond, he had a 105. Last year, he had a 112. Just rewind yourself back to what Merritt was doing before he was tagged. Unbelievable. 172, 121, 131, 127, 128. Go check him out. He will avoid a tag this week, and he could be great as well. Into Rory Laird. Okay, Rory Laird against Port Adelaide. It's Rory Laird. There you go. There's the first thing we need to understand. It's Rory Laird. Do not jump at the shadows that I am creating if you think he's going to be great. He's the best player this year. The 9 scores of 120 in a row. And here I am worried about where a 120 comes from this week. Let's have a look why. Coming off his second lowest score of the year, 92. When was his lowest? It was a 90 very early on against Port Adelaide. Now, remember, he came back from his injury. Port Adelaide are the second hardest for midfielders to score against this year. He may cop a tag from Willem Drew, right? He's got a higher score of 105 in his last 8 against Port Adelaide. And when I flip the page here, I can tell you only one player in the last 4 weeks has gone over 120 against Port Adelaide, and that was Trent Cotchin. In that time, Parrish couldn't do it, Merritt couldn't do it, list goes on. Trust me on that. So, one guy, 120, and we need a 120 this week. We need a 120. In the game, Rory O'Brien. Look, okay, Rory O'Brien will have a day out. Mark my bloody words here. He will have a day out. That's all I'm going to say. Then you're looking at the Hawks Bulldogs game. Your best option there is going to be Josh Dunkley. Last time he was in Lonnie, 51. Trust me, your best one is still Josh Dunkley, with the Finn McGuinness tag most likely going to Liver. Into the 2 big ones, because in these 2 big ones, I have a lot of people in my top 10 captain option. I'm talking Doherty, Cripper, I'm talking Marshall, I'm talking Walsh, and Jack Steele could also be an option if you wanted to go there. Let's go through them. We all know Collingwood, the number 1 easiest team for midfielders this year, the number 1 easiest midfielders since the bye and in the last 5 weeks. It still happens. Scores they've given up over the last few weeks. Mills 129, Parker 120, Oliver 139, Petrarca 120, Rosie 115, Zach Merritt 121. They're the 120s I'm talking about, right? They are the scores we're chasing it. How are we doing it? You can chase it with a Paddy Cripper, who's gone at 118 in his last 4. Or you could go with a Sam Walsh. I don't mind that either. He had 155 last year against him. Or you can go with a Sam Doherty. 123 last week, playing as an inside mid with 10 tackles. 114 last year, so he had 114 this year against the Pies, and, little flag, that's his highest ever score against Collingwood. I'm ignoring all that, right? Because if Cripper is in the middle, it won't matter. If Cripper is down back, it won't matter. I spoke to a very dedicated Carlton man, and he said this game is all about Doherty. It is all about what he is going to do and how he is going to get the Blues over the line. You know what? And I believed Roy. He was very convincing. Doherty should have a field day. So should Cripper. In the last game, if you wanted to, you could go with Jack Steele, who last year against the Swans had a 139 to 137. Or you could go with Callum Mills. Yeah, he's doing all right, isn't he? Has never turned up against the Saints in a career 6 games. Only team that he's never turned up against. Yep, I don't care. He'll turn up easy here. 5 scores of over 115 in his last 6. Yep, my problem with him is, where's he going to play? Is he going to be in the back line? Who bloody knows where they put him? So that's just a little flag. However, you can roll it into Rowan Marshall. And here is why. Rucks are against Sydney, the Rucks, that is the easiest matchup imaginable, right? These Rucks against them lately. Darcy Cameron, 96. That was a top score for Collingwood last week, and that's above what he normally does. Goldie, 92. Above what he does. Bruce, 85. Who bloody knows? But let's say that's above what he can do. Riley O'Brien, 104. Above what he can do. Rucks outdo what they're expected to do. Okay? We're talking about Marshall, the number 1 man in form, going at 133 in his last 3. And he's under the roof. That, my friends, is a beautiful matchup for a guy who we would never have considered with a captaincy option to finish it off. However, your decision is yours. You do what you like. I will be going Touk Miller, vice-captain, into Doherty in the second last game of the round. If I get cold feet, I will let you know. Rowan Marshall is creeping up on Doherty every single day. Guys, That is Calvin's captains for another year 2022. Thank you so much for everyone that joins me with my flag and my stupid bloody hat every single week. I'm looking forward to next year already, but we've got one more to go. And if you're in the GF, go you good things. Thanks, legends.